Hey guys, Rudro Mukherji here this side. Today we are going to talk about economics, choosing the perfect book for the subject economics, because economics is one of the important subjects and you have some difficulty to choose the right book for economics, because especially if you are not from the economic background, if you have a little bit doubt which book is going to be very much useful for you, there are different books, then of course for economics it's a problematic thing, because you don't have much idea. If you don't have much idea, then you have hard time choosing the right book. There are a lot of books on economics, but the main problem here is the volume. Sometimes in some books the concepts are well written, but it has a large volume. Like this book, this is a very popular book, popularly known as a book written by Dutt Sundaram. Often people go for this book, but this book has a great volume. It's almost 1000 pages, and if you choose a book which has a lighter volume, then you have a book called Economics by Jadab Circle. It's a higher secondary book. So this book is okay if you are a beginner, but not very much integral for your preparation, because this book has some concepts well written. Sometimes it's very much precise. Sometimes this book is not going to help you in a long run, because this book is written for higher secondary students. Sometimes people don't choose textbooks at all, and they go for this kind of special issues. I have a special issue here. It's a magazine, Pratiyogita Darpan. It's a special issue on Indian economy. Sometimes people choose this kind of book, and when they choose magazine, they have an advantage. Advantage in what sense? Advantage in the sense that they have some dynamic data, some current data. In old version books, you don't have those current data, so sometimes it's good, but for concept building, it's not good. Though concepts are given here, some concepts are well written here, but sometimes you have some error in data. So for that matter, this book is not good for the beginners. If you are a beginner, then I'll suggest you to go for a higher secondary book. Like you have NCERT books, you can go for that. And you have West Bengal Board's economics book written by Jadab Circle. It's an average book. It's okay. I mean, for the beginners, it's okay. Let's have a look at the book written by Jadab Circle, because in that way we'll be able to understand what this book is all about and how it can help you. For the beginners, let's look at the content. Here I have the contents. The first chapter is all about definition. The first chapter is all about definition. You have man, nature, interaction, social activity, individual activity, social relations. Those are irrelevant. You don't require these data, because this is for concept building. It's okay, you can go through it once, but it's not required from the exam point of view. Now you have another chapter which is scope of social science. You don't require that even. Now you have production and social activity, definition of production and all. You don't require that too. Then you have division of labor and product market. What is division of labor? This is a good thing to know. What is division of labor? It's kind of socio-economic issue. So you don't go for this particular portion in a very you can go for it in a precise way. You don't need to know much about it. Then you have what is surplus, how does surplus arise, and all. Now you have methods of mobilizing surplus. You don't require these two chapters even. So the first segment is not very much essential for your exam point of view, so you don't require that. Now you can directly go to the meat of the second portion, the meat of the second section, which is here. Supply of agricultural finance. This is a portion that you can have little bit idea about. And you have land reforms during the plan period in page number 97. Let's have a look at it. Look at the beauty of this book. This book is okay for beginners. Why I say that? Because let me read out. Before independence, 3 types of land systems prevailed in India. You have a clear concept of that. They were zamindari systems, Mahalwari system, and Radwari system. Those 3 land reform systems. In all these 3 systems, there arose a number of intermediaries between the landowner and the actual tillers. There was no direct connection between the state and the actual tillers. The intermediaries extracted as much rent as possible from the actual tillers. Many zamindars were absentee landlords living in towns. So you get to know about the problem. You get to know about the problem of the and the need of land reform. The land reform policy that has been taken by our government. You have a clear background, and now you know why government chose this kind of land reform policy. So for concept building, this book is good. And you have a good volume of data and information here. You can use those data and information in case you need to write an article, you need to write essay on that, you need to write answers in your optional. If you have history optional, then you have the portions of land reform policies of that time during British period, and you have those 3 systems like zamindari system, Mahalwari, and Radwari system. So this book is good for beginners. Now I'll give you some other idea about some good concepts that are there in the book. Like the concept of national income, it's very much important, so let's have a look at it. Now you have national income. You have introduction to give you a rough overview, and now you come to the main point, the concept of national income. By national income, we mean the sum of all incomes earned by all the earning units in the country during a fixed period of time. In a certain period of time, there may be different earning units. An earning unit may be an individual, may be a family, or may even be an institution. Since national income can be obtained by adding the incomes of all earning units, we should explain the concept of earning units before we start the analysis of measurement of national income. So now you have the concept of earning unit, what earning unit is all about, and you have a rough idea about the national income. And the very first sentence, that's the beauty of the book, that the very first sentence, it's proper for beginners because the very first sentence gives you the idea about national income. What national income is? National income is the sum of all incomes. So the sum total of all incomes earned by all earning units in a country. If you are an earning unit, if I am an earning unit of the country, then the sum total of our earnings makes the national income. National income. So in this way, you have a good idea about national income. So this book is good actually for beginners. You can go for it if you want to know about the concepts in a very precise way. If you are starting, if you are confused which book to choose, and if you are looking for building concepts, then it's good for you. Book written by Jadab Circle. It's for higher secondary students. Sometimes you have some good concepts over here, like you have what is tax, direct tax and indirect tax, the difference between them, distinction between direct and indirect taxes, merits and demerits of direct tax, indirect tax. So tax system is also explained here. You have government expenditure like classification of budget and all. So you want to know about budget, go for it. Now you have some good concepts even like balance of payment, BOP, it's explained here. Foreign exchange, role of foreign aid. These are some issues that are very much important from your exam point of view, and you can easily go for this book to build your concept if you are a beginner. The concept of price, what price is, what does equilibrium mean, demand supply, equilibrium and price. These are essential for your exam. What is money? You have different types of money, like you have token money, fiat money. These concepts are well written here. And you have evolution of money, you have credit money, you have central bank like RBI, role of RBI and all. So the whole syllabus is covered within 500 pages, and it's written in a very lucid format. It's written very beautifully. So the book is good for the beginners. Now, if you have made your concept, if you have cleared your concept, you know a little bit about economics, then you can go for this book written by Dutt Sundaram. It's a good book. The publication is S. Chand. You don't need to remember the publication. It's so popular that you go to a bookstore and ask for it. They'll give you the book of Dutt Sundaram. Now you have some beautifully written concepts over here, like the structure of Indian economy. The structure of Indian economy is not very much explained in this book. It's not very much explained. Indian economy on the eve of independence. You want to know about the evolution of Indian economy, go for this book. This book is good for you. You have national income. Now you don't have the same format of national income like the format in which Jadab Circle explained what national income is all about. Here you have some advanced level of data and information. Like let's have a look at it, then you'll understand. On page number 29, you have national income. Here you have pre-independence period estimates, like how national income was calculated during British period. Before independence, how national income was calculated. You have some even primitive data here. And then you have post-independence period estimates. This is after independence, how national income started to be calculated. And National Income Committee and Central Statistical Organization, you have the role of them, how they calculate national income. And you have CSO revised national income series with a base year. So you have data, you have charts here, like you have sectors here. Agricultural sector contributed how much in 1999 and 2003, 4, 2005, 6. You have this kind of. This is the old version. I bought this book on. 2008-9. So it's old book, old version. Always go for the latest version. Always go for the latest. Latest publication, because you have the current data here. You have good charts that you can use if you are, of course, if you are a student of IAS, if you are also appearing in IAS, then of course from UPSC point of view, it's very much important to go for this book, because you have some authentic data here, like net national product at factor cost and per capita NNP. You have all the data here. You can use these data to write your essay, to write your answers on economics for mains. as well as you can use these data when you face interview. Before interview, even in WBCS, you can go for this book to have an overview. You can go through roughly, so that you have some data and you have some good concept handy with you, so that you can face the interview more comfortably. So Dutt Sundaram's book is expecting you to have some idea at least about national income. Dutt Sundaram are not going to tell you what national income is all about in a more lucid format, like the sum total of all the income of all the individuals within a country in the domestic territory within a financial year. No, Dutt Sundaram is not going to tell you that because they expect you to have some idea on national income. Now they give you data, they give you analysis of pre-independence era and post-independence era. Now you have a complete knowledge on national income. So if you want to have a complete knowledge on national income, go for this book at first, then choose this one, because this book gives you a rough idea about national income or any issue that you need to know, and then you have data, you have good analysis, you have good information here. So you can go for this book to complete your knowledge, to enhance your knowledge. Now let's talk about special editions of some magazines that you can use to enhance your knowledge, to develop your knowledge, to have when you have some clear idea on the concepts, and when you have good amount of data now and good amount of sense of analysis, then you can go for this kind of book, which is Pratiyogita Darpan's special edition on Indian economy. They publish special edition on each and every subject that you need in UPSC. Let's look at the contents and you have some idea what this book is all about. This magazine, they talk about aspects of Indian economy, underdeveloped country, what underdeveloped country is all about, nature of unemployment in India, human development report and all, poverty in India. They talk about socio-economic issues. Then they talk about mineral resources of India, and they have forest resources, national income. Since we are talking about national income, let's have a look at it on page number 90, I guess. Concept of national income, how the concept is explained here. Let's have a look. Yes, here I have national income. Gross national product is explained at first to explain national income. Gross national product, or GNP, refers to the money value of total output or production of final goods and services produced by the nationals of a country during a given period of time, generally a year. As we all include, we include all final goods and services produced by nationals of a country during a year. In the calculation of GNP, we include the money value of goods and services produced by the nationals outside the country in calculating GNP. Hence, income produced and received by nationals of a country within the boundaries of foreign countries should be added in gross domestic product, GDP. So they keep on explaining the difference between GDP and GNP. It can be a good book when you have some idea, at least a little bit idea. It's not the first time you are hearing about GDP, GNP and all the terms. If you know a little bit about GDP and GNP, this book is good, because this particular issue talks about concepts, and then this particular book gives you some data sheets, some current information and all. So when you are going for WBCs only, then go for this book at first. Then if you have some time, you can be choosy and selective to read from Dutt Sundaram's book. And then when you have cleared prelims and mains and you are going for interview, for your interview preparation, this specialist can help you, because it has some current data. And apart from that, you have some concepts, you have some concepts that might not be mentioned in your general textbook, like for example, let me give you an example. For example, credit squeeze. I'm sure you don't have this particular term even mentioned in these two books. What credit squeeze is all about? It says monetary authorities restrict credit and as and when required. This credit restriction is called credit squeeze. Monetary authorities adopt the policy of credit squeeze to control inflationary pressure in the economy. So it's a good thing to know about, isn't it? Credit squeeze is not that much irrelevant from your exam point of view. So you must know about credit squeeze. So here in the last portion of the book, you have some concepts. If you have a little bit idea about credit squeeze when you go through this book and you want to know more, you can always Google it. You have your best friend Google. You can Google it and you can have some more idea and concept about the video. About the concept that you have just gone through, so that you have come across. So coming across is important. Let's talk about another term. For example, bridge loan. Bridge loan, I'm sure that bridge loan, as far as I remember, bridge loan is not mentioned in these two books. So what bridge loan is about, the book says a loan made by a bank for a short period to make up for a temporary shortage of cash. So to manage the temporary shortage of cash, bank provides short period loan. On the part of borrower, mostly the companies, for example, a business organization wants to install a new company with new equipments. While his present installed company or equipments are not yet disposed of, bridge loan covers this period between buying the new and disposing the old one. So in this way, you have not exactly rough idea, you have rather a good idea about bridge loan, what it is all about. Now you want to know more, then you can always search it on Google and you can find numerous websites that talk about these terms. So coming across is the important key here. So for concept building, go for the book called Economics by Jadab Circle, and it's a higher secondary book, and then you can choose Sundaram to know the analytical part of it, to have some information which are very much relevant and that will enhance your knowledge and develop your concept. And then you can choose this kind of a special edition like Indian Economy, General Studies Indian Economy. It's a book for UPSC and maintains UPSC syllabus. It's a book, it's a special issue by Pratiyogita Darpan. And when you go through this book, this kind of issues, special issues, then you have some good concepts. While choosing issues, special issues like this, you must be sure that almost 100% information that you have here, the data that you have, are not authentic. Sometimes there are errors. Sometimes there are lack of effort from the proofreaders. So you have some errors here, you have some printing mistakes, you have some other mistakes as well. So always try to validate those data from other sources, because within shortest period of time they try to publish this kind of a book which has a great volume, almost 350 pages long. So while choosing this kind of issue, make sure, since they publish these issues every year, so always make sure that all the informations are not authentic. So for the authenticity, always you have to rely on some textbooks, and sometimes you have to cross check on Google and all. So that's it. That's for today. Be choosy while you choose your sources of information and material for exam. So that's it. See you again. Take care. Bye.